Meghan Markle's Her Best Life Wellness Retreat launched in Sydney today. Women paid up to $3,200 Australian for the experience. They flew from around the world. They were physically patted down by security just to walk through the hotel door. And Meghan gave them 2 hours. 2 hours of photos and mingling. Then she left, drove to Allianz Stadium with Harry, and was photographed in the stands sipping wine while 300 women sat in a hotel conference room in Coogee wondering where their Duchess went. Today we are covering Meghan's 2-hour cameo at a $3,200 retreat before ditching her fans for a rugby match, Harry and Meghan turning the Bondi Beach Terror Memorial into a photo opportunity that Australians are calling disaster tourism, Meghan wearing pantyhose in Australia after publicly complaining that being forced to wear them as a royal felt inauthentic. The British press crowning the sausages as the Duke and Duchess of Dollar after 4 days of grift, and the 22-year-old Norwegian princess who was quietly attending university in Sydney while the Harkles paraded through town with a motorcade. Welcome back, my royalery. I'm the royalery. Let's get down to it. The retreat was organised by Besties, the event company co-founded by Australian radio personality Jackie O. Henderson. The venue was the Intercontinental Hotel in Coogee, Sydney. Tickets ranged from $2,700 Australian for standard to $3,200 for VIP, which included a group photo with the Duchess of Sausages and front row seating at the gala dinner. 300 spots. 2 nights at the hotel. Yoga, meditation, sound healing, a session with a psychologist, and what was sold as an intimate conversation with Meghan herself. Here is what the 300 women who signed up actually received. Check-in started at 3 in the afternoon. Security was so intense that attendees were physically searched before being allowed into the venue. Photos from the entrance show women standing with their arms extended while security personnel ran hands over their clothing. For a wellness retreat at a beach hotel in Coogee, because apparently inner peace requires a full-body pat-down. Meghan arrived and spent approximately 2 hours posing for photos and interacting with fans. 2 hours. And then she left with Harry, who, by the way, showed up at a women-only event, which drew its own wave of criticism. One commenter put it perfectly: if I wanted to attend a women-only event, I wouldn't be happy to see a man present, and I wouldn't care who his father is. But Harry was there. Presumably because Meghan required an escort for the 2 hours of work she did before clocking off. And where did she go? To Allianz Stadium. To watch the New South Wales Waratahs play Moana Pacifica in a rugby union match. Photographs from the stands show Meghan in a brown trench coat, wine in hand, with Harry's arm around her. Meanwhile, the women who remortgaged their enthusiasm to spend a weekend with the Duchess of Sausages were left at the Intercontinental to enjoy a Duchess-free evening. They will spend Saturday doing wellness activities with speakers who have not been publicly confirmed. They are sharing hotel rooms with strangers. And the highlight of their $3,200 experience lasted 120 minutes. The internet has already found the comparison. Fire Festival, the legendary disaster where influencers sold a luxury Caribbean music experience and delivered cheese sandwiches on a gravel lot. Obviously, the Intercontinental is not a FEMA tent. But when you charge $3,200 and deliver 2 hours with the headliner, before she vanishes to a rugby match, the energy is identical. The promise was luxury and access. The delivery was a photo line and an empty chair. And the bill was paid months ago. And the financial instincts behind this operation were already well established. The organizer's talent agency reportedly went into voluntary liquidation, owing over $500,000 to the Australian tax office. That is the business acumen backing this wellness experience. A company that could not pay its own taxes is now charging women $3,200 for sound healing and a selfie with a duchess who left before dinner. Compare this to Pamela Anderson, who is doing a similar wellness-style event in Australia at a 2,500-seat theatre with tickets starting at $85. She has already sold over 2,000 seats. Meghan cannot fill 300 at 10 times the price, and the 300 who did pay just discovered that the price of admission buys you less time with the Duchess of Sausages than you would get standing in a supermarket checkout line. Before the retreat, Harry and Meghan made one final stop, and this one has drawn the sharpest Criticism of the entire 4-day tour. They visited the Bondi Surf Bathers Life-Saving Club, the site of the December 2025 Bondi beach terror attack. 15 people were killed. In that shooting, dozens more were injured. It was the worst terror attack in Australian history, and the sausages decided their publicity tour would not be complete without a visit to the memorial. They met survivors Jessica Chapnick-Khan and Elon Zeiser. They spoke with Shannon Biederman, senior curator of the Sydney Jewish Museum. Lifeguard Jonathan Bott said the visit means a lot and that they took time out of their brief visit to Australia to visit the site. And on the surface, respectful, moving, even. But the word on the street tells a very different story. Australians are calling it disaster tourism, and the criticism is savage. One Australian wrote, "I'm absolutely disgusted they're using the worst day in Sydney's history for their faux royal tour. Absolutely disgraceful and abhorrent behaviour." Multiple people spotted Marcus Anderson, Meghan's longtime friend and personal fixer, lurking nearby, which tells you everything about whether this was a spontaneous act of compassion or a scheduled content opportunity. And there are reports that someone in the sausages camp tipped off Channel 9 about their location in advance, so the cameras would already be rolling when they arrived. Here is my question. Did the sausages make a large donation to first responders? Did they publicly support the local Jewish community with anything other than their presence? Did they announce a single concrete initiative for the families of the 15 people who were murdered? Because the word on the street is clear, if the answer to all of those questions is no, then this visit produced exactly one thing: photographs. And photographs of the sausages at a massacre site are not for the victims. They are for the dossier. The same dossier that insiders say is being assembled nightly from each day's footage, a curated highlight package designed to prove the sausages are still relevant enough to deserve taxpayer-funded security when they inevitably try to return to Britain later this year. And because Day 4 needed a lighter moment of hypocrisy, let me tell you about the pantyhose. Meghan was photographed in Melbourne this week wearing Woolford tights. Woolford. Full pantyhose. The same Meghan Markle who sat in front of cameras and complained that being required to wear pantyhose as a working royal felt, and I am quoting, a little bit inauthentic. She said she had not seen pantyhose since movies in the 80s. She held it up as one of the suffocating constraints of palace life. The Sheer Islands became part of her freedom narrative. She was too real, too independent, too Californian for hosiery. And now she is in Australia, on a trip where she controls every wardrobe choice, where no dresser is insisting, where no queen is looking over her shoulder, and she chose pantyhose. She chose the exact item she once held up as a symbol of royal oppression. Nobody forced her. Nobody required it. Meghan Markle, of her own free will, put on the tights she once told the world represented everything wrong with the monarchy. The pantyhose were never the problem. The institution was never the problem. The problem was always that someone else was making the rules. The moment Meghan is the one choosing, suddenly the same outfit is perfectly fine. And the British press has found a name for what they watched unfold across 4 days. Rebecca English, the Daily Mail's royal editor, has dubbed them the Duke and Duchess of Dollar. Not sausages. Dollar. Because even the journalists who have covered this couple for a decade have stopped pretending the trips are about anything other than money. Jan Moyer delivered the sharpest column of the week, Welcome to the Victim Tour. The Big Downer Down Under, in which two of the most privileged people on earth trail around Australia moaning about their rotten luck. The Spectator quoted Dolly Parton. "Get down off your cross, honey. Someone needs the wood," and said the line could have been written specifically for the Duchess of Sausages. 4 days. A hospital where sick children were wheeled out for photographs. A MasterChef appearance for a reported $250,000. A mental health summit that did not sell out. A claim of being the most trolled person on earth while her fanbase harasses cancer patients. A terror memorial turned into content. And a wellness retreat where the headliner gave 2 hours and left for wine and rugby. Some commentators have been saying for months that this tour would be the moment the public finally sees the pattern for what it is. And after 4 days on the ground, the numbers tell the story the sausages do not want told. Thin crowds, half-empty venues, cancelled walkabouts, and a trail of invoices longer than the list of people they have not alienated. The Duke and Duchess of Dollar. The name fits so well it should be on the stationery. And here is the detail that puts this entire Australian tour in perspective. While the sausages were parading through Sydney with a police motorcade, a security perimeter, a personal fixer, and camera-ready outfits, there was another royal. In the city, Princess Ingrid Alexandra of Norway. She is 22 years old. She is the future Queen of Norway. And she was in Sydney resuming her studies at the University of Sydney, where she is pursuing a bachelor's degree in social sciences. No motorcade. No press pack. No security officers patting down university students at the lecture hall door. No fixer lurking at memorials. No fashion app listing her outfit for purchase. Just a 22-year-old woman going to class. The Norwegian palace confirmed she had returned to campus after an Easter break with her family and said it was unlikely she will meet the sausages. Unlikely she will meet them. Because Ingrid Alexandra is in Australia to build something. To study. To learn. She does not need a highlight reel. She does not need disaster. Tourism at a terror memorial. She does not need 300 women patted down by security so. She can feel important for 2 hours before heading to the rugby. She is 22, and she already understands something the sausages have spent 6 years failing to grasp. Real royalty does not need to perform. It just needs to show up and do the work. The Harclays told Australia this week was about service. 4 days later, the only thing that was served was the brand. And the Australian taxpayer got the bill. But let me know what you think about this in the comments.